Hey y'all, how you going?
Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya
And I'm Soria. Welcome back to episode 7.
of Everyday People Potty.
My goodness.
Look,
7 episodes already.
I know that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Very exciting.
Very exciting for us.
Yes.
Exactly. So, today we wanted to just have a discussion, I suppose,
Yeah.
about the topic on boundaries and our experience, like our experiences, our challenges, our journey, I suppose,
Yeah.
with pardon me, with this is natural, man. This is what it is.
Keeping it real, babe.
Keeping
Keeping it real.
Yeah. Yeah, like our journey with boundaries and just have a conversation really
Yeah.
of what we've experienced in our
And what we're currently still going through.
100%. And I like before we came on, we spoke about the fact that it will constantly be a journey, evolving, growing,
Yeah.
learning,
Yeah.
shaping,
Crying.
yeah, like because
All the things.
because well, from our experience, what is it? We put in a boundary, we stay strong with it, and then something slides, right? And not that we're back to square one, but we notice that there's a how would you call it? Well, there's a slip. There's been a slip in the the in our firmness of our boundary, right?
Yeah.
Like in that
We tend to ease up a little bit more.
Yes, we loosen the grip on it.
Yeah.
And then wonder why things are turning to poo.
Yes. Yes.
And then when we revisit we've realized that we've let go of a boundary.
Yeah.
We have allowed our either no's to become yeses or allowed
and enabled
as
well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So just what is there anything that you want to share in regards to your journey with?
Oh, look, I could go on forever. Let's be honest. Boundaries are definitely something that I've had to really navigate, and I'm still navigating to this day. But it's really helped me. What's the word? It's helped me cut off distractions.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Especially in seasons where you want to progress and like there are no boundaries in place for certain people. It is really hard to continue on walking through certain hard situations when you don't have boundaries in place. Let me think of an example.
I was going to say, I could probably, do you want me to give you an example?
Yeah.
Like drama, thinking about okay, back in the several years ago for me, like office drama, work dramas, whether it be gossip, whether it be dramas, because people thrive off drama because it's like they've got, I'm going to say, nothing better to do with their lives.
But I think it's more so because it doesn't reflect on them. They're
correct. You don't have to look at yourself. You worry about everyone
else.
Yes, it's that whole focus on. Yeah. So kind of that and we get it's like watching a drama TV show where we're like invested in it. You want to get caught up in the show. It's similar to people in our lives. We like get caught up in their drama. Sometimes we actually want to be the savior. Or like we want to fix it. We want to be the fixer. But by doing that and being involved in the drama or the gossip or whatever, it's actually stopping us from our
we just get tangled up in
and then wonder
that's not necessary for us.
And then wonder why our lives aren't either moving forward or things that like why is our lives
and we constantly feel stuck, like we're going round in circles constantly. And it's because what we end up enabling due to the lack of not putting a certain boundary in place with someone, whether it's how often you hang out with someone, that's definitely a boundary. How often someone tries to contact you, like you don't always have to Like, let's normalize not answering our phone sometimes.
Well, yeah, you don't have to jump, right? For starters, you don't have to jump the minute a phone rings or a message comes through.
Yeah, yeah.
Because genuinely you could be in an appointment, and even if you're not, you could be in an appointment with yourself.
Yeah.
Like having time for you, because you need that to refresh and rejuvenate and be better.
And for example, like, me time is a boundary.
Exactly.
Right? So if you don't prioritize that time to reflect and reset, and you're just allowing obviously everything else get in the way, like, you're never going to be able to reset. So I think that's something that was important. But for me personally, I feel like creating boundaries within my family, and love them to death, but it's so important to have boundaries within your family. I feel like just in our culture, it's everyone's sort of caught up in each other's lives, that there's like no, everyone has a say and an opinion, which they like, yes, everyone is entitled to an opinion, but when you are constantly throwing that in someone's face, you kind of realize like how that can really affect people. So I feel like learning boundaries and healthy boundaries within your family can definitely help you grow, because you're now not caught up in like everyone's idea of how you should be making decisions for your life.
Yes.
That was a huge one for me. I had to learn how to navigate life on my own and make decisions based on what I feel like I needed. And that also meant making mistakes, which is something that, we are taught at a young age, that, oh, you've made a mistake, and so it becomes like a
deal.
Yeah. And it's scary. So as scary,
and then you're
as
scared to make the mistakes,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think too, even with like I think with boundaries, first of all, you got to assess where you want to go in your life. But for me, when I realized like a boundary put in play looked like, when I was talking about the work dramas and or stuff like that, is looking at what occurred at work. Like, okay, what was going on? Whenever a scenario came up where, you might have had people complaining or whatever, and for some reason you're in the thick of it. It was like, okay, well, what's going on here? Like, what's happening? Is it gossip? Is it blah, 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 blah? And then it's like, okay, do I really need to get involved in this? Like, am I,
what are you getting out of it?
Yeah, like, why am I doing this? Is it because it's the only way I can get, feel like I'm a part of something? And I think then for me, it was, this is way, way early on in the piece. It was realizing that people, okay, when I hung around people, what was the topic of conversation?
How did I feel?
How did I feel when I leave? Like, and all of that. And then to the point where, so from a work perspective, realizing that I was constantly getting sucked into a, like, either a gossipy or a drama, like a drama. Let's just call it a drama.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the end, and I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, I'm not interested. And I had to, the boundary was like, I'm just not going to entertain this.
Yeah.
I obviously can't walk, well, you can walk away, but if you're physically doing a job with someone, then you literally can't walk away. So it was like, well, how else do I not partner with this? So I just didn't respond. I just didn't talk about it. Or I tried to change the subject to get off that topic, so we weren't gossiping or creating drama, or like just trying to either focus on what we were doing, because it didn't work. And then again, in different realms and like friendships or
friendships
or families or whatever, like, okay, when we get together, how do I feel when I walk away? All right.
Oh, yeah,
Are they
that's a big
sucking the
one.
life out of me, or are they, am I feeling empowered or energized? And if I'm not feeling energized, well, then I have to limit the amount of contact that I have with those people. Not only the amount of contact, but my involvement. Because again, I don't want to partner. Like, I don't, just because I'm in there doesn't mean I have to partner with that conversation. I don't have to agree with what they're saying. I can either shut it out or try and change the subject and give them the opportunity to stop talking about that. Whereas, and then if that doesn't change, I then have to make the decision, I've got to cut this off.
Yeah.
This is no longer serving me. It's, it's dragging me down. It's constantly getting me caught into things that I don't need to be caught in.
Yeah.
And a decision has to be made that, look, I love you, but we,
I also found that like a lot of it, due to my lack of boundaries for anyone, I found myself resenting people and complaining all the time, because I was like, this is, this person this and this person this. And when I actually was able to understand how boundaries work and the importance of boundaries, I thought, you know what, I need to actually practically put that in place and see how it goes. It was scary.
Yeah.
My goodness, it's such a blessing to my life. And even to this day, I find that I still need to put boundaries in for certain things. And like you said, sometimes we get comfortable and we go, okay, then you let things slide and then they build again. And then you're like, wow, I dropped the boundary again.
Yeah. And so, when you said you had that resentment, is it like a resentment and a somewhat blame?
Yeah,
like,
it is. It
blaming
is.
them for the fact that that they shouldn't, well, why are they putting me through this when it's like, actually I'm putting me through this?
Yeah.
Like effectively we give them, we're giving them permission and power to control us. But ultimately we have the power. Like ultimately it's up to us to make.
And a lot of us don't know we do.
No, exactly.
And we don't understand that boundaries are a form of love.
Yeah, and a love for ourselves, and actually
for ourselves and for others. It's
It is
protecting both parties.
I would agree with, 100% it is. It is a love, and a lot of people take it as a negative. A lot of people take it as a even a threat, like it's well, a negative, a bad thing.
Yeah.
And it only appears that way because it's uncomfortable and it's foreign, and it and usually we're not benefiting. Like if someone's cracking up about a boundary, it means they're no longer getting benefit from
they're
They've
not
been cut
happy with
off
the fact that they don't have access to
you
the way that they want
to
get what they want.
Correct.
And so it's gonna rub people the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That is okay, because at the end of the day, you've got to do what you need to do in order for you to keep navigating life the way you do. And to put those boundaries in place is so important. I'm going to give an example. I dislike when people borrow my things. Now let me unpack that a little bit for you. So I don't dislike that people borrow my things, but then it becomes a habit and then it becomes enabling if I don't put the boundary in place. Now, I have a history of people use and abuse. So when I say yes to something, it then becomes this whole, because she said yes once, she's going to say yes the next 100 times.
Yeah.
So I now have to be mindful that when someone borrows something, first of all, I got to check their history record. Like it's like you're applying for a loan. It's like, what's your history record? Because if you don't respect other people's property, then you're the answer is probably going to be a no.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to give people the benefit of a doubt, but I've had to learn to say, okay, I am trusting you with this.
XYZ.
This is the expectation. And I know that I'm going out on a limb to be like, that is a risk that I'm willing to take. But then I also say to them, don't get used to me saying yes all the time. Like there needs to come a point in time where you probably need to get your own. There's probably better words to say that. I probably don't say it that way, but I just want to let people know that I do care. I want to help out, but there needs to come a time where you'll probably need to get it like a lawnmower. And this is funny because I don't own one. I borrow one, funnily enough. But like things like that. And, you know, so, I mean, we've tried to go, oh my goodness. I think it was the phone warning me not to talk on this subject. But like, so, and we've bought one before, an electric one, and we've left it out in the sun and it rained. We didn't put it in a garage, but that's okay. You live and you learn.
A lesson, right?
Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, okay, I shouldn't get offended if that person says no.
Yeah, right.
Because they have a boundary in place and there's reasons for that. And it's like, you don't want to resent people, you know, you want to love on people, and it is your job to make sure that you're saying yes or no for a certain particular thing. But I think borrowing things, dude, for me is like a huge one I struggle with, only because I've been burnt in the past many, many times. So I do get a bit twitchy when people are like, can I borrow this? And it's like, I've got to, like, it depends who's asking.
Yeah. Here's something I just wanted to quickly interject and share with that. What I love about it in that particular case, I think it's actually great that you communicated. There wasn't just a silent, you're like, sure, here you go.
Which I've done before, and then I'm like,
and then like
I'm internally like,
and then you like, because they take forever to return it or like, so having that conversation at the time, saying
and telling them the expectation.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. You're telling them the expectation, so it's good for you to get out and say, like, well, I'm communicating to you. I'm happy for you to borrow it under these circumstances. You know,
and I think
you know what, like, I know that sounds like a deal, but it's like they're aware of the position, you're aware, and so that when and if needed, it's like, well, I've said that. You don't have to go, complain. Like, no, I've told them, okay, cool, I can either get that back or not feel.
And you know how I know that I've really let my boundaries down? When I start complaining.
That's
when I start complaining about something or someone, I'm like, hang on, wait a minute.
What's going on?
What went, like, how did it get to this point?
Yeah.
What could I have done to not avoid it, but to not even get to this point of this situation?
Yeah.
And majority of the time for me, it's because I've lacked on the boundary. You know, I've enabled this situation to go out of hand because I should have put a boundary in place. So I'm always revisiting that boundary thing in all areas of my life, whether it's work related, whether it's, you know, serving, whether it's family, or even friendships.
Every area really, like
within myself.
Yes,
like I need to put in boundaries within myself.
Like your time management, there's got to be boundaries there. There's got to be
so many layers.
There is a lot of layers within that. So as we wrap up today, what do you think, like, what has been, okay, let me start again. For those out there that have been struggling with this and are listening today thinking that is something that I really need to focus on. Like, I need to start putting boundaries in my life because I've acknowledged XYZ. You know, my life isn't going the way I want it to, and I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
And I know it's because if I put these boundaries in play, or if I put something in place, then it's going to help me move forward. And what advice, or what is almost what I was going to say, one thing that you could pass on to everyone that in regards to this topic, you know what I mean?
Look, it's a ballsy move to put a boundary in place. It's not easy.
Yep. No, that's not. It is not.
I've struggled with, I had to really go around in circles to get sick of it, to finally go, you know what to do. You know, like, this is what you need to do. I just had to put my foot down and do it. And it could start off with just the smallest thing, right? It could be like, hanging out with someone. Okay, let's put a boundary there.
Yeah.
Let's minimize like how much time I'm actually spending with this person, or a boundary for my phone. I'm always on my phone. That's definitely something I struggle with. I need to put a boundary in place so then I'm not getting too distracted. So I would start with something very small.
Yeah.
And be consistent with that. And then also reflect and go, like, how do I feel now that I've put that boundary in place?
Yeah.
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 Because then you need your why.
Well, I was going to say, there's one thing that I wanted to share is like, okay, what am I trying to achieve?
Yes.
Like in my life, is it more time? Is it more capacity and space in my head?
Is it less drama?
Is there less drama in my life? Like, is there like, I don't know. It depends on what is my goal. What is my ultimate goal?
Yes.
I think, for example, looking at scheduling, we use that as an excuse, as a my goal.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my goal is scheduling. That means I have to put boundaries in my time. I have to I have to be more diligent with my time. I can't be as flexible. I need to be more, okay, cool. If I'm going to be an hour, I'm going to be an hour. Like, again, put that boundary in and not just be like, oh, we, which is
we.
Well, like we can have days of free, you know what I'm saying.
And we can go off with the fairies.
Yeah.
And go
which is why all the way home.
Yeah.
Like, and whereas if we're tighter with our, again, put a boundary in place or put that schedule in place for certain times, then the rest of the things are going to go smoothly. So again, the goal as to why something might need to be put in place, why you don't want to be hanging around gossiping people, or why you don't want to be involved in dramas. What's your why? Because the reason, your goal will actually help you enforce the boundary more.
Yeah.
It's because I'm chasing this, I need to put this in play. Whereas if we're not, and you said you had to go round and round, you had to come to a point where you're like, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
I need to do this. And then you become like, I'm putting this in place, and you make it happen. When we don't have our why, or
the drive, that, not the drive, but like, when we don't have that thing to the core, the reason of
that line in the sand.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
As of now.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
Like, boom. It happens.
We.
Like, I keep,
boom.
Yeah, boom. Like,
I don't know if we're allowed to do that.
Why not? The Wiggles still. The Wiggles. Oh yeah. So why can't we? Sorry.
I don't think they say boom.
Maybe. Oh, now I get. It's all right. Shit, right. That will not be edited out. But but I think about when my daughter was younger, and she knew when I was serious and when I wasn't. And again, that's a boundary. Like, that's putting in, like, and there was times where I would say stuff and she knew I wasn't serious. I thought it was serious. I wasn't serious. And then she knew when I was serious. You know what I mean? Like, then there was like a switch. There was a boom, and she then knew. Even to the point where, and I think we were speaking about this the other night too, where you could look at someone, if I'd look at her, or that if they're doing the wrong thing and you just look at them. There was a look that we had that I don't have a they, she's
she identifies as they. And she
knew that I meant it. It was like, I didn't have to use word. Well, long and short of what I'm trying to say is, I didn't have to use words. She knew I was serious. And that's all I'm trying to say is you've got to be serious when otherwise you're actually kidding yourself, and people know that you're actually setting yourself up for failure if you're not.
And this is definitely the perfect time to actually take yourself seriously when you're putting in a boundary.
Oh yeah.
Because you don't usually, I mean, there are time and place to take yourself seriously, and this is definitely a time when you're deciding to make a decision to put in a boundary.
Yeah.
take yourself seriously.
Yeah,
because
you're and you're doing, again, it's a self-care, self-love thing. And you're worth it. So
you're worth that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Maybelline. No, that's not it. But yes, you are worth it. And a lot of, I feel like, what are we telling ourselves? We've got to be constantly feeding that into ourselves.
Yeah.
But I also want to break it down again, because I feel like that's the importance of connection and having someone in your life to keep you accountable, to actually navigate putting boundaries in place. Because after watching a podcast or listening to it, it may plant its seed, but then what are you doing after that in order to follow through with actually placing a boundary?
Oh, you go.
And for me, it was having someone to slap me into shape, be like, have you put that boundary in place, girl? So that's what you need as well. Yeah. Connection is key, guys. Like, putting boundaries is so important, and it's something that we navigate every single day.
Yeah.
But it's also because we are connected, and we have people in our lives that literally are helping us along the way to say, look, how's that going? How did you feel about that?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love that. Excellent. I suppose we should wrap it up. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
We could obviously talk about this for ages. And if you've got any questions.
I need to go to the toilet, so. No.
So
we no jokes. Like, I need to.
no, feel free to join us, and
join us on the journey on all of our platforms. We are on Spotify, we are on YouTube, and we are on Facebook
and Apple Podcasts as well.
Yes, and Apple.
Yeah,
we're fancy.
We're fancy girls. Yeah.
Cool.
So thank you, and we'll see you next episode, and have an awesome time.
All love.
Bye.
See ya.